My Beloved Masters, composed by Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari. Hereditary Determination. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari told me the following story about how he came to reside in Sridham Mayapur and how his father, Shri Deep Ramadas Gaubuda, tried to bring him back home. When I was about 11 years old and in the 7th grade, I went with a group of people from many villages to have darshan of Shri Navdeep Dham. During our visit, I met Srila Prabhupada. I was so enamored with him that I refused to return home. Instead, I decided to stay in Mayapur and join the mutt. Despite my young age, Srila Prabhupada granted me Harinam and Mantra Diksha. I was my father's youngest child, his 10th. When word reached my village that I had stayed behind in Mayapur, my father immediately departed for the Dham to retrieve me. At the time, Shri Navdeep Dham Parikrama was underway, with thousands of pilgrims in attendance. When the in charge of Shri Chaitanya Mutt was informed that my father had arrived, he treated him very respectfully and arranged a place for him to stay in the mutt. While at the mutt, my father received darshan of Srila Prabhupada. He was amazed by the behavior and bold harikatha of sannyasis and brahmacharis, and he was especially impressed by the fact that such erudite individuals born of elite families were firmly established in the principle of offering respect to others while expecting none in return. He told me, I would never have imagined a place like this exists, where everyone discusses only matters of the spiritual world and never those of this material world, where no one harbors a desire for mundane indulgence, but rather cultivates the desire to serve, where people have renounced material pleasures to live according to a simple yet elevated philosophy, and where the mysterious truths of the soul are revealed one after another. His heart swelled with gratitude. He said, Keshav, my son, you have blessed me by showing me this place. What to speak of accepting it, I had never even heard that this human form of life is meant for worshipping Bhagwan. Now that I have come to know this in my old age, I will perform bhajan for the remainder of my life. I, too, will take shelter of your Gurudev's lotus feet, and when he will mercifully agree to it, accept mantra diksha from him. Please convey my intentions to him. I then told him, you eat meat and fish, and you smoke tobacco. Beyond giving up these, one must give up even onion and garlic before accepting diksha and harinam. I will give them up this very instant, he replied. These are small things to leave aside for the sake of something so exalted. Are you sure? I asked. It will be a grave offense if you accept mantra diksha simply out of excitement and again consume these things because of habit. My father assured me, I fully comprehend the gravity of making a vow to an exalted personality. Trust me when I say I am of sound mind and that I am not being emotional. I have thought this over carefully. While I was waiting for the right time to supplicate at Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet on behalf of my father, explain his background and attest to his state of mind, my father saw a group of devotees who had shaved their heads and were waiting to receive mantra diksha. He immediately went to have his head shaved, after which he sat down with the prospective initiates. When a servant informed Srila Prabhupada of the situation, Srila Prabhupada said, determination is the most important attribute needed for receiving diksha. I will certainly grant him his wish. And so it happened that Srila Prabhupada gave my father mantra diksha that very day. When my father left Sridham Mayapur, he told me, Keshav, although I came to bring you back, the opposite has happened. I have offered myself here. My body may go, but I will forever remain here by heart. Amazingly, from that day forward, my father never consumed any of these forbidden substances. Instead, he spent the rest of his life chanting Harinam. His Diksha mantras, various prayers, and hymns, and engaging himself in activities favorable to bhakti. The streak of determination his father embodied was visible in Sri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari life as well. Attention is the key to success in service. Immediately after Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari received Harinam and Diksha from Srila Prabhupada, he began performing various services in the mud. He was particularly avid in assisting Srila Prabhupada's cook by cutting and preparing vegetables, shopping for ingredients, scrubbing pots, and cleaning the kitchen. Once, while Srila Prabhupada and his preaching party, which included his cook, were en route from Mumbai to Kolkata, his cook became worried he would be unable to punctually provide Srila Prabhupada with prasad upon their arrival. When Srila Prabhupada and his entourage reached the mutt, Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari had his meal cooked and ready to be served. When the cook saw all the items Sripad Krishna Keshav Prabhu had prepared, he was surprised beyond belief. They were nearly identical to those he usually prepared. After Srila Prabhupada honored prasad, his cook told him that Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari had prepared his meal that day. Really? Srila Prabhupada asked. I could not tell the difference. Did you teach him how to cook? No, the servant replied. I never taught him to cook, but he does help me in the kitchen whenever he is around. Srila Prabhupada summoned Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari and asked him, From where did you learn to cook? By carefully watching Prabhu cook every day, he replied. Srila Prabhupada said, You are sure to be successful in whatever you dedicate your full attention to or wish to learn. You should go on like this, learning the key principles of bhajan. By this you will surely obtain auspiciousness. After this incident, Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari would cook for Srila Prabhupada from time to time and would lovingly bestow Srila Prabhupada's remnants to whoever would ask for them. He used to say, Srila Prabhupada always ate very little. I noticed, whenever I served him his meals, there always seemed to be the same amount left on his plate as I brought him. Guru Maharaj, right-hand man. When the excessive disturbance that followed Srila Prabhupada's disappearance caused the Gaudiya Math mission to split into two factions, Guru Maharaj took possession of Sri Chaitanya Math on behalf of Sri Kunj Bihari Vidya Bhushan Prabhu. Many of his god brothers insistently requested him to take sannyas and start accepting disciples, but he deferred their numerous pleas. It was largely Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari who influenced Guru Maharaj to finally agree to his god brother's proposal. Srila Prabhupada has left behind such a massive mission, he told Guru Maharaj. How will its services continue on properly if a qualified person like you refuses to accept disciples? If you begin awarding initiation, I will accept the responsibility of bringing prospective disciples to you. Having received his dear godbrother's support, Guru Maharaj agreed to accept disciples. Sometime later, Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari took Guru Maharaj to Assam, where by his tireless efforts, Guru Maharaj's preaching met with great success. Being attracted and inspired by Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, explanation of Srila Prabhupada's immaculate teachings, many people took shelter of Guru Maharaj's lotus feet. A good many of these new devotees became renounced and joined the Math, and later on, Guru Maharaj even awarded some of them sannyas. Guru Maharaj regarded Sri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari as his right-hand man, and he had particular affection for him. Devotees who have taken shelter of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math shall remain forever indebted to Sri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari. A fitting response to criticism. Once, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vilas Tirth Goswami Maharaj, Sri Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj, Sripad Sundar Gopal Prabhu, Shripad Atulanand Brahmachari, and other disciples of Srila Prabhupada were at the Sialda station in Kolkata. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, who was then residing at Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, was also present at the same station, but was situated a little further away. Some of them called for Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari to come close to them and asked, Keshav, how are you? Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari replied, I am very well. They again asked, Keshav, how are you? I am extremely well, he replied. A number of his godbrothers then audibly said among themselves, Just see, although he has left the mud established by Srila Prabhupada, his own Gurudev, he says that he is very well. Hearing their words, Shri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari calmly said, Had I continued to stay with you, I would have only ever heard that you alone are engaged in bhajan, and no one else is capable of properly serving. I would have been compelled to label all others as non-devotees, and would have become expert in Vaishnav Ninda, criticizing devotees. Fortunately, he continued, I have been saved from all such wretchedness. By staying with Sri Madhav Maharaj, with him I remain immersed in practicing the principle of considering everyone else as honorable as myself as worthless. So, to reaffirm, yes, I am extremely well. What have you to say about that? Someone said, Listen, Srila Prabhupada blessed Sri Tirtha Maharaj by saying, May you attain abundant auspiciousness. Did he ever give such a blessings to Madhav Maharaj? Shri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari replied, No one blesses a recipient of a Master of Arts degree by saying, I bless you to acquire a Master of Arts degree. Such blessings are for those who have not yet attained some particular qualification. Therefore, the reason Srila Prabhupada did not bestow the blessings to achieve abundant auspiciousness upon Sri Madhav Maharaj is because he had already achieved abundant auspiciousness. By sincerely reflecting on the situations of the blessed, one can easily understand why Srila Prabhupada would have felt it necessary to bless them in this way. An incomplete point is a misunderstood point. At Guru Maharaj's invitation, many disciples of Srila Prabhupada gathered to attend the annual festival at the Kolkata branch of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. One day, at the very end of the assembly, Guru Maharaj asked Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari to speak. In his address, he said, According to the philosophy the Vaishnava speakers have expounded today, I can say that no one here, whether sitting on the dais or on the ground, has attained Bhagwan. The scriptures state, Jadi hai sanjog, tabe na hai viyog, jadi hai viyog, tabe na thake pran. If there is meeting, there cannot be separation. If there is separation, then one cannot remain alive. Therefore, the fact that everyone assembled here today is showing signs of life is proof they have never met Bhagwan. If they have truly met him, they would be unable to maintain their life in separation from him. After Prasad that night, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vikas Rishikesh Goswami Maharaj, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, admonished Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari in front of their godbrothers. He said, it was improper to question whether the persons seated on the dais have attained Bhagwan. We all accept disciples now. It was unwise to proclaim such ideas in front of our followers. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari replied, This happened only because I was allocated as much time as it takes you to recite the invocations before your lecture. I had presented only one aspect of this multifaceted subject when the kartals chimed and indicated I should conclude. I had not finished explaining. If I am given sufficient time tomorrow, I will explain the rest. The next day, when Guru Maharaj asked Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari to speak, Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari narrated a story. Once, a painter was told to paint a sign on the wall that read, Ekhane pe chhap koribe na, do not pass urine here. He had painted the first three words, Ikhane Peshab Koriben, pass urine here, before night fell and forced him to stop painting. Naturally, people started urinating there the next morning, thinking they had express permission. The employer chastised the painter, who replied, Sir, this was not my fault. It got dark before I could finish. Do not worry. Now that the sun has risen, I will immediately paint the last word Na and complete the sign. A similar incident occurred when I spoke yesterday, so I will now conclude my unfinished point. The devotees seated on the dais before you today are like modest, wealthy persons who claim they have no money. Although they say, Na prema gandho asti, I have not a cent of prema. Do not think they have not obtained Bhagavad Prema. Conversely, we should understand a poor man's claims of poverty to be not an expression of humility, but the truth, and we should sincerely try to help him. The people sitting on the dais today have certainly met Bhagwan. It is solely through the Lord's inconceivable potency that they are able to survive such fatal, unbearable separation from Him. Bhagwan personally maintains their lives so that they may continue bringing Him endless pleasure by serving Him in this world. This principle, that living is evidence of an absence of Bhagavad Prema, cannot be applied to realized personalities. It is meant only for conditioned souls like us. The passing away of his pure devotee father. In 1956, a year after I took shelter of my Guru Maharaj and joined Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math, Guru Maharaj took me to Braj for Shri Braj Mandal Parikrama. There I heard from Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari that his father had passed away and that his brother has sent him 50 rupees to serve the Vaishnavas in their father's memory. With that money, Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari ordered and distributed 40 kilograms of rabdi, a sweet made from condensed milk. That day I witnessed devotees who normally snubbed anything served in remembrance of the deceased, happily eating that rabdi with great relish, saying, Eating something served in honor of a non-devotee's passing implicates one in the sins of the departed. However, according to the blessings Sriman Mahaprabhu bestowed on the occasion of Sri Haridas Thakur disappearance festival, one incurs offences by not accepting the prasad distributed in honor of a pure devotee's passing. In fact, one's devotion is increased by eagerly accepting such prasad. The way I saw Srila Prabhupada's brahmachari and sannyasis disciples lovingly honor the rabdi prasad that day confirm that they indeed recognize Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari's biological father as a pure devotee of Bhagwan. Relieving the doubts of a new Mathvasi. When my godbrother Pujyapad Bhakti Vallabh Tirtha Maharaj and two of his schoolmates took shelter of Guru Maharaj's lotus feet and began living in the mud, they overheard Sri Srimad Bhakti Hriday Van Goswami Maharaj express, Even though I have associated with sadhus, resided in the dham, performed Nam Sankirtan, surrendered myself at the lotus feet of my Guru, preached all over and performed countless other activities that are favorable for bhakti, I have gained no benefit. Pujyapad Tirth Maharaj, then known as Shri Krishna Vallabh Brahmachari, and his two schoolmates became very disheartened by this statement. They debated among themselves the need to reside in the mud if a senior Vaishnava like Srila Van Goswami Maharaj achieved nothing. Despite having invested so much energy in spiritual practices and preaching all over the world. In the end, Shri Krishna Vallabh Brahmachari's two discouraged friends packed their belongings and left the mud. He, however, retained faith that there must be something more to Srila Van Goswami Maharaj's troubling words. In order to reconcile Srila Van Goswami Maharaj's puzzling statement, Shri Krishna Vallabh Brahmachari approached Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, who then graciously explained everything to him. A rich man will never disclose the fact that he is wealthy even when asked. Instead, he will try to conceal this to the best of his ability. Similarly, Vaishnavas who possesses the wealth of prema often hide their fortune by claiming to be without any devotion. Besides, Shilavan Goswami Maharaj is extremely intelligent. If he actually believed he gained nothing from practicing bhakti, would he not direct his energy elsewhere? Listen, he continued, you are new to the mud. The more you associate with exalted Vaishnavas, the more you will be able to navigate the current of emotions that flows in their hearts. It is only after you first learn, comprehend and realize the intricacies of their moods that you can grasp the mystery behind many of Sriman Mahaprabhu's statements such as न प्रेम गंधो अस्ति दुराप में हरो कंद्रामि सौभाग्यम भारम प्रकाशयितुम वंशी विलासे अनन्य लोकनम विना बिभ्रामि यद प्राण पतंग कन व्रथा श्री चैतन्य चेतामृत मध्य लीला 2.45 I have not even a cent of love for Shri Krishna. I am crying simply to flaunt whatever fortune I once obtained. If I truly loved him, how could I endure this useless insect-like life, bereft of the sight of his lotus face, as he sports with his flute? प्रभु कहे ना कृष्ण कथा अमी नहीं जानी सबे रामानंद जानी तार मुखे सुनी श्री चैतन्य चेतामृत मध्य लीला 5.7 Shriman Mahaprabhu said, I know nothing of Krishna, but Ramanand knows it all. Go hear from him. अमी तो सन्यासी अपनारे विरक्त खोरी मानी दर्शने रहु दूरे प्रकृतिर नाम जदि सुनी तब ही विकार पाए मोर तनु मन प्रकृति दर्शने स्थिर है कौन जन श्री चैतन्य चेतामृत अंत लीला 5.35-36 Shriman Mahaprabhu said, although I am a sannyasi and I considered myself to be renounced, my body and mind become agitated by merely hearing the word woman, not to speak of actually seeing one. Who can remain unaffected by the sight of a woman? Many of Srimad Mahaprabhu's eternal associates have expressed their humility in similar ways. Adharo api aparadhanam avivek hatho api aham tad karuna pratiksho asmi prasidha mai madhava Shri Rupa Goswami Stavamala 1.12.14 Although I am a mine of offences, and although I cannot tell right from wrong, I still hope for your mercy. O Madhav, please be merciful to me. Jagai madai haite mui se papish, puri ser कीट haite mui se kalagisht. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Shri Chaitanya Chaitamrit Adi Leela 5.205 I am more sinful than Jagai and Madai, and am lower than worms in a stool. Additionally, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said, Tumi to Thakur, Tomar Kukur, Bolia Janaho More. You are my Lord, please accept me as your dog. Even Srila Prabhupada has similarly expressed his humility. Although he is Jagat Guru, the spiritual master of the entire world, he referred to his disciples as Vipat Udharak Bandhu, friends who deliver him from misfortune. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari concluded, I therefore ask you not to follow the actions and reasoning for your schoolmates, but to instead follow the example of exalted Vaishnavas. You have done well by asking me to alleviate your doubts today. This technique of seeking the counsel of senior Vaishnavas has been approved and demonstrated by our exalted predecessors for those who wish to enter spiritual life. Shri Krishna Vallabh Brahmachari staunchly accepted Shripad Krishna Keshav's Brahmachari's advice and followed it throughout his life. In his lectures, he would often look back on this incident and say, It is only by Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari's mercy that I continued to stay in the mud. When I later shared his insight with my schoolmates, they found it agreeable. From time to time, they would visit the Kolkata mud and participate in festivals, but they never again fully gave themselves to the mud. I remember that one of the Pujyapat Tirth Maharaj's schoolmate was a Brahmin boy, and the other was the youngest son of a gentleman named Shri Kamakhya Sen. I used to know their names, but now I am unable to recall them. the satisfaction of remaining under guidance. When Guru Maharaj would go on preaching missions, there would often be several events scheduled concurrently, and so the preaching party would split into different groups to honor all the invitations. I noticed that Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari would travel only with Guru Maharaj and remain under his guidance. He never preached with anyone else. He used to say, I considered it a matter of great fortune to carry out my life under the guidance of an exalted personality while remaining insignificant. In that alone, I find joy, contentment, and satisfaction. I never want to go anywhere I may be forced to act superior to others. Hearing means following. One Sripad Krishna Keshav Prabhu and his senior sannyasi godbrothers were preaching at a university, where highly intellectual professors and students had assembled to hear about the philosophy of the Gaudiya Math. Yet, each time the sannyasis delivered their speeches, several professors and students would insist, You are retiring ancient ideas. We have heard these concepts many times before. Although the various sannyasis tried to help them understand the speciality of Gaudiya Math, the objectors maintained their philosophy was simple old wine in a new bottle. Finally, Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari asked Guru Maharaj for a chance to speak. When Guru Maharaj consented, Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari stood up and said, I am not an intellectual like you, learned academics. I concluded my efforts to accrue worldly knowledge when I came to the Gaudiya Math in the 7th grade. Today I will speak a few points before you all based on what I have learned from my spiritual teachers. Although my presentation may contain errors, you will be able to infer the essence if you listen patiently. You yourself have readily admitted you have already heard, understood, and memorized well the views my godbrother discussed before you here today. You have asked us many questions in response, but I request you to please ask yourself this one question. Do I live my life according to these teachings? If the answer is yes, then very well. Otherwise, your knowledge of those teachings will be of no true benefit. Merely memorizing them will do you no lasting good. Although your education allows you to read, understand, and memorize a doctor's prescription, your illness will not be cured unless you follow the prescription's instructions to take a particular medicine. On the other hand, an illiterate person will be cured if he, after taking that prescription to a qualified, educated person who can explain its contents, consume the medicine prescribed therein. This is the speciality of the Gaudiya Math. We practice what we preach, and what we preach is Uthore bhai, aar to samay nai. Get up, brother. There is no time left. The professors unanimously conceded, You have spoken the truth. They said, The trouble with society nowadays is that despite having vast knowledge, people seldom follow any of what they know. The great impact of a simple explanation. Once Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari and an entourage of devotees accompanied Guru Maharaj on a preaching mission to Guwahati, Assam. Being Assamese, Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari and my godbrother, Sri Chintaharan Patagiri Prabhu, knew the local language. As per the instruction of Guru Maharaj, the two met with Deshpriya Sri Gopinath Borodoloi, the then Chief Minister of Assam, who was an object of affection for the country's citizens, to invite him to hear Bhagavad Katha at Guru Maharaj's program. At the meeting, Sri Borodoloi first asked them to introduce themselves, their organization and the reason for their visit. After the introduction, he asked, You are both Assamese. Why then have you not accepted the principles of Sri Bhagavad Dharma as preached in Assam by Sri Shankar Dev, Sri Damodar Dev, and other renowned Assamese bhaktas? Why have you instead accepted the teachings of Sriman Chaitanya Dev, a Bengali? Sripad Chintaharan Prabhu requested Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari to kindly answer Sri Borodoloi And Shripad Krishna Keshav Prabhu obliged. Respected Mr. Badaloi, if I may, I would like to preface my reply to your question with a brief question of my own. You too are Assamese and you belong to a Brahmin family. Why then did you consider it appropriate to attend Oxford University in England, accept Englishmen as your teachers, your gurus, and follow their teachings? When they use paper to clean themselves after passing stool, instead of following the proper practice of using water, what more should I speak about their lack of etiquette? Shri Navdeep Dham has long been famous as the Oxford of India, and scholars from even Assam have regularly gone there for higher education. We therefore fail to understand the inherent fault in our following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Gopinath Bardaloi was rendered speechless. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari and Shripad Chintaharan Patagiri Prabhu left his office and returned to Guru Maharaj. When they arrived back at Guru Maharaj's quarters, they were greatly surprised to see Shri Bardaloi sitting next to Guru Maharaj. They realized he had come by car while they travelled by rickshaw. This pastime illustrates the convincing effect Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari's simple explanations had on not only Shri Gopinath Bardaloi but many people around the world. His sister's tenacity. One Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari brought Guru Maharaj and a preaching party to his sister, Shri Saheshwari Devi's home in Sarabhoga, Assam. At that time, the people of Sarabhoga were not cordial with the Gaudiya Math. Not long before, an ignorant Mathvasi, a newcomer, killed Shri Aramo Pathak, the benefactor who had donated the land for the Sarabhoga Math, by striking him on the head with a hammer. When the people of the village heard that the Gaudiya Math sannyasis and brahmacharis had come to preach, they fervently objected. We refuse to let them preach here, they exclaimed. We will not make their stay in this village easy. Shri Saheshwari Devi replied to the villagers, should the actions of just one unscrupulous member spoil the reputation of the entire Gaudiya Math institution? What misfortune has befell us that we will reject a sadhu coming to our home? Have our parents taught us to behave like this? If you want to criticize these sadhus, you must first spend time with them, listen to their sermons, hear their kirtans, and talk to them. Otherwise, I will not listen to a word of what you say. It would be nice if you maintain your ties with your family, but I will not be the least bit concerned if you serve them. The villagers fell silent. Later Guru Maharaj told Shri Saheshwari Devi, we are like birds. We cannot nest here. We can easily do so elsewhere. But since you live here, it would be wise to maintain good rapport with your neighbors. When Shri Saheshwari Devi heard Guru Maharaj say the words, we can easily go elsewhere, she began to weep bitterly. If you leave, I will fast until death, she promised. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari told Guru Maharaj, she is Keshav's sister and her father's daughter. You must trust her resolve. Please stay here a few days and perform Katha and Kirtan. Guru Maharaj heeded Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari's advice and stayed for a few days, during which an amazing thing happened. Shri Kamalakant, the person who had instigated the opposition, took initiation from Guru Maharaj along with his two wives. During their future visits to Sarbhog after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, Guru Maharaj and his preaching party did not stay in the branch of Shri Gaudiya Math there, as the management had unfavorably changed. Instead, they stayed in the home of Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari's family, and Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari's mother, a staunchly service-inclined devotee, happily prepared delicious prasad for all the devotees during their visits. Pleasure and nourishment, two aspects of service. I once cooked under Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari's guidance at the Shri Ananta Vasudev temple in Kalna. At that time, the temple was under the care of Shri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. In the course of cooking, I had forgotten whether I had added salt to one of the vegetable preparations. When I told Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari about this, he said, I can tell from the steam rising from the pot whether or not you have added salt. Sure enough, when he saw the steam from a distance, he said, No, you haven't added salt yet. He then gave me the following cooking advice. If you ever happen to add too much turmeric, put a few pumpkin or gourd leaves into the pot and they will soak up the excess turmeric. And if you happen to add too much salt, a ball of dough will absorb it. He went on telling me many more things about cooking, including how to cook large quantities only in a short time. During our conversation, he said, cooking is Srimati Radharani's service, and she always presents new dishes to Shri Krishna. Although Shri Durvasa Rishi gave her a boon by which everything she cooked would be like nectar, she still fully absorbs herself in cooking, as she does with whatever other services she may perform. Moreover, she reflects on what is best for Krishna. She considered not only whether Krishna will find a dish tasty, but also whether it will nourish him. It was with a similar mood that Shri Raghav Pandit's sister, Shri Damayanti, would send medicinal preparation to Puri for Sriman Mahaprabhu so that he could find relief from any acidity or stomach pain he may have experienced. In our conditioned state, we do not know Shri Krishna or Sriman Mahaprabhu's tastes, nor have we any idea which dishes nourishes them. Still we have heard that Bhagwan accepts food through the mouth of his devotees. Keeping this in mind, we should especially careful to consider what is most beneficial for them when preparing their meals. When cooking for them, we must dedicate our full attention to that service. Worrying for the welfare of others. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari once chastised a person he had inspired to join the mutt. That person responded by saying, If you weren't such an old man, I would have grabbed you and forcefully thrown you out of the mud. Shripad Krishna Keshav Prabhu made no rebuttal, but rather remained silent. After I repeatedly asked him about the incident, he finally said, There is a difference of heaven and earth between the era we live in today and that of bygone times. Previously, people felt forever indebted to those who helped them even slightly. But nowadays, not to speak of a cent of gratitude, people feel no shame in arguing with and falsely accusing those who have helped them. Their only motivation for such quarrels is to receive recognition and fulfill their selfish desires. There was a time when, what to speak of those in the position of authority, everyone in the mutt desired to increase the mutt's number of sevakas. But now we see that many of those holding high posts do not object to expelling devotees from the mutt. This reminds me of an old story. He continued, Once a man put what he thought was a turtle egg in a pond, because turtles help protect water by eating many polluting entities. But when the egg hatched, he discovered it was actually a crocodile egg. He now had a pond with a crocodile that wanted to eat him, the same person who had put the egg in the pond. I told Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, You have served both Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj so much. You should never endure any sort of inconvenience. When government employees retire, they receive a pension. Bhagwan is the biggest government. How could those who have served him not possibly receive a pension? In this world, a pensioner must go to the bank and prove his identity before he receives any funds. But Bhagwan's devotees receive their pension automatically without having to go anywhere. You have never collected any money for yourself. You have lived your whole life as a totally renounced Vaishnava. Although they have never met you, devotees both here and abroad joyfully exclaim, All glories to Prabhupada's cook, whenever they hear about you. There are plenty of people who would happily donate to serve you. Do not concern yourself with the actions or words of others. We have nothing to worry about. I know all this very well, he told me. I am not worried for my maintenance. I worry only for those who, though residing with the sadhus, are unable to take full advantage of their association. These persons are unable to realize that they must taste the fruits of their actions. Where then must they go to experience a change of heart? Anyway, I can only pray for Bhagwan to bring them auspiciousness. May Srila Prabhupada rest his auspicious gaze on all of us. Avoiding duplicity. Various godbrothers of Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari would repeatedly ask him to accept sannyas, but he would always say, "It is duplicitous for a person to superficially accept someone as his diksha, shiksha or sannyas guru. Even a sannyas disciple must readily accept his sannyas guru's instructions, including chastisement, with great pleasure and eagerness, for the scriptures declare it improper to not regard one's gurus as being on the same level. Srila Prabhupada is my Diksha Guru, and I simply cannot put anyone else on the same seat he occupies in my heart. He has taught that it is better to live as an animal, bird, worm, insect or any other of the millions of species than to resort to duplicity. So how could I accept sannyas if I am unable to give my heart to anyone else but him?" Srila Prabhupada has also taught that the servants of Paramhansa Vaishnavas are simple-hearted. I therefore pray that you may encourage and help me in cultivating simplicity, so that I may become a true disciple of Srila Prabhupada in this lifetime and thereby become satisfied. This would be an expression for your true mercy upon me. Protecting his godbrothers and godsisters Japamalas. When Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari godbrothers or godsisters would leave this material world, he would acquire and carefully store the Japamala, chanting beads Srila Prabhupada had given them. Whenever any of his fellow godbrothers or godsisters happened to lose or misplace their Japamala, he would provide them one of the malas he had saved. Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari was so pleased after the construction of Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math branch at Sri Prabhupada's appearance place in Puri that he blessed the person who funded the math's construction, Sri Banwari Lal Singhania, by giving him one of the malas on which Srila Prabhupada chanted. Reading for the pleasure of Bhagwan and his devotees. Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari would study Bengali translation of many books. I noted he especially liked reading the Bengali versions of various Puranas. He always avoided using his reading light at night, instead opting to read by candlelight, so as not to inconvenience the other devotees sleeping in his room. He used to say, "I read only to please Bhagwan and his devotees. If my reading light disturbs a devotee of Bhagwan, then of what benefit will my reading be?" Wasted time is a wasted opportunity to serve. Someone once notified Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari, "There is a person from our village who, after living in the Himalayas for 10 years, claims to have gained the mystic ability to walk on the water. Today he is returning to our village to show his extraordinary new ability. I can arrange for you to come and see if you would like." Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari told that person, "I am not a fool. I will not waste my invaluable time to see a crazy person who spent 10 years of his life just to attain the ability to walk on water. You can take a boat for a couple paisa, and an airplane ticket to the furthest possible country costs at most a month's salary. What, then, is the need to spend 10 years mastering such a pointless feat? Those who pursue such attainments simply crave mundane prestige and nothing more. An intelligent person should understand the true value of his time, knowing that one's time should be used to pursue that which cannot be attained by money, affluence, knowledge, or ritual practice. What intelligent person would ever endeavor for material prestige? Essence over externalities. Once, an initiated devotee petitioned Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari saying, "Prabhu, I have not been chanting my Gayatri mantras for quite some time. I have heard that the mantras are rendered ineffective after 3 days of neglect. I am unable to hear them again from my Diksha Guru, for he has left this world to join Shri Krishna's eternal pastimes. I implore you to mercifully recite the Gayatri mantras to me." Sripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari asked the devotee, Do you still remember the mantras your Gurudev gave you? Yes, he said, I remember all the mantras. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari told him, then you need not to hear mantras from anyone else. It is true that neglecting to chant the mantras given by Shri Guru is a form of Guru Avagya, disobeying one's spiritual master. Nevertheless, you must beg forgiveness at the lotus feet of your Gurudev and again start chanting your mantras according to the proper regulation. Everything will be rectified by His mercy. The devotee then raised another question. I have heard that I should at least change my upavit, means sacred thread, before beginning to chant my mantras again. Is this true? Shri Krishna Keshav Brahmachari replied, if that were the case, then would not ladies who never given a sacred thread be doomed? Do not invest your intention and energy only in external activities. Instead, always seek and give greater value to the essence. When traveling, retaining your ticket is the most important concern. Stations, co-passengers and conductors may come and go with little or no consequence. In the same way, your ticket to Golok Vrindavan is the Maha Mantra and to some extent your Gayatri mantras, which indirectly assist the Maha Mantra. Concern yourself with nothing else. No obstacle can harm you if you take full shelter of Shri Harinam and your Gayatri mantras under proper guidance. The Transcendental Clerk. Shripad Krishna Keshav Prabhu lived in Shri Jagannath Puri for approximately 10 years before leaving this world. Whenever I would visit Puri, he would open up his trunk, place it in front of me and say, count how much money is there. After I would count the money and tell him the amount, he would often say, I must definitely provide Jagannath Prasad to the residents of the mutt. Also, I want you to invite as many pandas from Shri Jagannath Mandir as we can host so that they may partake as well. Accordingly, I would procure Jagannath Prasad and invite the pandas. Seeing this, Shripad Krishna Keshav Prabhu would become very pleased and say, Bhakta Seva Parama Siddhi Prem Lati Karamula. Serving devotees is the greatest perfection and the root of the creeper of divine love. He would also explain, when devotees offer me donations, they do so with the intentions of serving Vaishnavas. If I properly fulfill my responsibility to utilize their donations in service, I will become a recipient of Bhagwan's mercy, and the donors will be spiritually benefited. I am like a bank teller or a railway inquiry clerk who deals with the public's money but does not receive a direct payment from them. It is the bank or railway management that pays his salary for fulfilling his responsibility of providing customers with the convenience of depositing or withdrawing their money or inquiring about train timings. Preparing for his disappearance pastime. In the year leading up to his disappearance, Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari would continually cry out the following words at the top of his voice. Labdva sudurlam idam bahu sambhavante manushyam arthadam anityam apiha dhira turnam yatetna patet anumrittu yavan nishreyasya vishaya khalu sarvata syad. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.9.29. We have attained this rare human life after countless births, and though it is temporary, it affords one purpose in this world. Therefore, as long as he has not dropped dead, a wise person must swiftly strive to attain ultimate liberation, for pleasures can always be had in all forms of life. Krishna todya pada pankaj panjaranjatam adve me vishatu manasa rajaham saha prana prayana same kaf vat pittah kantha avarodhana vidhau smaranam kutaste. Mukund Mala Stotra 33. O Krishna, may the royal swan that is my mind submerge itself this instant at the stems of your lotus flower-like feet. How else will I be able to remember you during my last breath, when my throat is constricted by air, bile and phlegm? An Acharya in the truest sense. Shripad Krishna Keshav Brahmachari leads such a simple and modest life that the only items he left behind after his disappearance were a few books, 2 sets of clothes, trivial amount of money, all of which were kept in one small box, the only box he owned. Although he never externally accepted the role of Acharya, nor gave mantra diksha, he abided by the following words of the scriptures and thereby fortified many devotees to do the same. Achnoti ya shastrartham acharye sthapayati api swayam acharati yasmad acharyas ten kirtita. Vayu Puran. A person who grasps the import of the scriptures and, through his words and conduct, establishes others in such standards, gain renown as an acharya. Although he never accumulated anything for himself, he never lacked anything in his service. When he disappeared from this world on the day of Yogini Ekadashi, many devotees gave me donations to organize his Virey Mahotsav. Just as it had satisfied him so much to feed Jagannath Dev's prasad to the Mathvasis and the Pandas in the past, I invited all the Gaudiya Math devotees in Sri Jagannath Puri and numerous Pandas on the day of his Virey Mahotsav and distributed Jagannath prasad to them.